Is now the right time to buy an NFT?
The answer is yes and no. But in this episode, we're going to make it simple.
Let's do it. NFTs are changing the world, and change can feel complicated and scary. But listen, you don't need a computer science degree. You don't need to learn how to code. You just need practical skills to win.
If you are here, you are in the 1% of humans that are preparing for this major cultural shift. We're going to keep it fun. We're going to keep it light. We're going to make it practical. Welcome to NFTs Made Simple.
Just a reminder, we're not financial advisors. This is not financial advice, and you should do your own research.
Hey, let's get into it. So this is fascinating. I am really, really passionate about this because, it's 2022, NFTs Made Simple is launched, and us, along with all of our listeners, are pioneers of this movement, and we have an opportunity here. But when you look at what that opportunity is, it's kind of like a loaded question, and there's a lot of confusion. Everybody has different levels of spending power. There's risk takers. There's a lot of people that are experiencing the buyer's beware, and we're going to talk about some of those things. But realistically, one of the things that I recognize, I'm very, very big in the practice of controlling what I consume. So I always say that headlines are dangerous. So I just want to start from that space that there's a lot of really smart, successful people and that are very, very big on taking risks, right? And a lot of times those people end up big and successful, but they're the ones that are creating campaigns for you to buy something, So you're seeing those in the headlines. So if you're scanning through Instagram videos and posts and TikTok and all that stuff, just be conscious and aware of the fact that you are being moved towards something, with advertising and marketing, which is more powerful than it's ever been. Another thing that I want to bring up before we get into this concept of is now the right time to buy, we're still getting used to this idea. We've spoken about this before. And what I mean by that is, this new concept of cryptocurrency, blockchain, NFTs, this is a new thing and we're still getting used to it. So as a historian of success, I want to make sure that I find myself in between being in the right place at the right time and taking action, because we do have to take action and risk. You have to step out of the comfort zone to succeed, but also recognizing that I don't want to do it without education and do it foolishly, especially when I'm doing it with a knee-jerk reaction to something that got me excited. I was in a Discord the other day, and I felt it. I got sucked in. I was reading a Discord, and I won't mention the name of this is a very, very big, successful person. The perception is, Mark, everything they put their finger on turns to gold, Yeah. So they're coming out with this NFT drop. And I found myself almost putting it in my calendar to be there when it happens, And in that moment, I'm not thinking about gas fees. I'm not thinking about whether or not this thing is actually real. I haven't done any homework on it, but I found myself getting excited. So before we really get into this topic, just understand, I think it's important to be conscious and aware of things. And I think that, you're going to find a lot of that consciousness as you come along with us in this show. But I'll give my own opinion, as we go through this episode on what I think about, is this the right time to buy and what I would buy, because I'm getting ready to do something. But let me turn it over to you. I know you have a lot of passion behind this.
Well, yeah, the last thing I want is to be separated from my hard-earned money. And one of the issues that we have here in March of 2022 is there's not a lot of regulation. So some of the fraud and stuff that you're seeing within the NFT space is stuff that's literally illegal when it comes to traditional finance and trading. So part of what I'm really looking at right now, and we had an entire episode about what to look for, is trying to identify, is this legit, or is this going to be a rug pull? AKA the founder or the creator is going to absorb a bunch of cash and then abandon the project. We've recently had a really high profile example of this, Lana Rhoades, which I hadn't heard of before until about a couple weeks ago. Very famous porn star, which that's what she does. Good for her.
For the record, I just want to say I did not know that.
Yeah, well, that's what I think is really important. And you kind of hit on this. is as we move into this influencer economy, your favorite TikToker, your favorite Instagram, your favorite, porn star like Lana, they hold a lot of influence and they can build a lot of hype. Like you mentioned, they put it into a Discord channel, but she raised $1.5 million on her project CryptoSys. And then basically, as far as today is concerned, she decided to abandon it because she felt her community was toxic. What the hell is that? Not refunding the money, just holding on to it. So in cases like that, my friends, that's where you get stuck holding a bag of JPEGs. You're not actually getting the value that you thought you were getting on the front end. And there's just examples like this all over the place, Dragon, because you could probably empathize with this. Humans are tribal animals. We want to follow others. We want to follow where the herd is going. In making big financial decisions that impact thousands of dollars, you can't make those decisions emotionally.
Yeah. And, this brings up once again, time sensitive as pioneers here. We live in a world, we're moving from Web 2 into Web 3, and we really don't know what to expect from the influencers of Web 3. We're starting to see that come out through NFTs and stuff. But what I can tell you is that, the reason why some of these blue check people have so many followers, and we all know what it's like. It's one thing if you're following somebody like my boy Jim Quick, who actually puts out like great content and he's helping people. But I see, there's people out there that are like just Instagram models or something like that. They don't really do anything, but they have like millions of followers. But either way, on either side, influential people, famous music artists, sports people, personal growth. It's interesting now. When I was a kid, there was no such thing as like Tony Robbins like people. It was either Michael Jordan or, Terry Bradshaw or something like that. But now there's people out there using Web 2 and using social media that have you consuming their content every single day and almost feeling like you're friends with them, and I actually hope that you guys are going to, get that feeling with Mark and I. Going to be a different way that we guide you in here, because we're going to all do things together. We've got some big plans for that. But we're in a position now where influential people are moving into this space. And every week we're hearing about some new big person getting involved in NFTs or investing. Even Warren Buffett, from what I saw, was fighting a lot of this stuff, but he's even seeing the power of it now. So it's something that is so powerful that everybody's getting involved in. But just be conscious of the fact that, you're being sold on ideas like this Lana Rhoades thing and being pitched on this idea, this visual that you're going to be able to meet this person or have a one-on-one with them. I shouldn't say that about Lana Rhoades. Yeah. Who knows what that means? I'm sorry, sweetie. I'm just trying to create
that is the
example.
promise. That's the idea. Even if it's valid or not, or if there's evidence that that's going to happen, that's the idea to get that in the back of your head. That's why, you're seeing OnlyFans accounts completely exploding, because you feel like you're actually connected with that person and they're delivering something that you really want.
Yeah. And I think what's important is, and this is what I love about this podcast, because even though we're putting this on, I feel like a listener as well, because we're organically going through this. Mark and I every week are just having jam sessions about what we want to know and where we're going with it and stuff. And like I said, I will share about the timing and stuff, but I think I just want to once again bring up the fact that most people listening to this podcast right now are probably, and I just say beginners, are probably not ready to take big risks in this. And we also know about, Mark and I are sharing content all the time that we see on Instagram and YouTube of people getting screwed in this world. And we're seeing that happen more and more and more. And there's definitely predictions, which happen with the internet as well, that the supply is more powerful than the demand right now. So there's a lot of predictions that a lot of these things that you see are very successful right now don't have staying power. And to the point of these examples, when influencers are cashing in on their following by launching an NFT, even if they do give them membership to something, if those memberships and utilities are not well thought out over years to come, owning that stuff is just gonna play out, and I'll give you an example. There are some very, very famous people. James Arthur Ray, for instance, one of my favorite authors. He's written some Harmonic Wealth, and he was in The Secret and all that stuff. Just an amazing individual that I read all of his stuff and I was following him. This has nothing to do with NFTs. But then all of a sudden he ran into trouble one day where, he was having a retreat and a couple people died. Boom. Everything that he represented went down. So if you're buying stuff associated with influencers, remember your value is going to be associated with this one person, which is totally the opposite of what I love about the blockchain, is that it's not controlled. So it's interesting to see.
You might need to buy life insurance on that.
Exactly. But it's interesting to see all of these things happening. So as we move into this space, because I'd love to know your opinion on whether or not it's a good time and stuff, there's a lot of unknowns right now because we're just getting used to this stuff.
Well, I want to stay with this idea of influencers too, because there's some great influencers out there. Influencers that really do have your best intentions in mind. But because this space is so new and so, I think, misunderstood, even the influencer themselves could be used as somewhat of a patsy, right? And, I was watching CoffeeZilla the other day, and he was kind of examining this Squiggles NFT. Squiggles, I know it just sounds legitimate just by the name Squiggles. I want to get in on that, right?
Yeah, I was going to buy it right now just after you said that.
Squiggles, baby. So anyway, there's an influencer, and this is CoffeeZilla's, I guess, thesis on the project was the influencer who was promoting Squiggles probably had good intentions. The problem was Squiggles had teamed up with 3 NFT creators who are basically going from NFT to NFT to NFT, hyping them up, huge drops, lots of cash, and then pulling the rug out from underneath the investors. So I think in addition to just seeing the investor themselves or the influencer themselves, you have to look at the team behind the project, because the influencer might have great intentions, but if they have a bad team behind them, you really need to know about that. And I think all of this rolls into this influencer economy that's growing. There's so many people that are in this for quick gains and for quick wins, but what's really going to be valuable over the next coming decades is going to be your credibility. I just really don't think you can sell your credibility for a quick win. Like $1 million today might sound like a lot, and it is a lot, but is it worth you're losing your long-term credibility? $1 million just doesn't go that far, especially when inflation is just completely taking off. Hey, what's up? Mark here. Just want to take you on a quick break with a resource I think is really going to help you. Some of the concepts that we're covering in the show sound really complicated and really technical. But listen, you don't need to code. You don't need to get a master's degree in computer science. All you need to do is have the right resources. We're going to make it simple. We're going to make it easy. I've got a link below. Go to www.nftsmadesimple.com. That's nftsmadesimple.com. You're going to get a free cheat sheet there. It's 100% free. What are you waiting for? Go get the cheat sheet. We're going to break down some of the key definitions in ways that are really practical and really simple. Go to nftsmadesimple.com right now to get your free cheat sheet. That's nftsmadesimple.com. All right, let's get back into the show. Before I pass the mic back over to you, Dragon, I just want to say something that I've been in the social media game for a while now, and the amount of fakeness in social media, I know we hear about this with like fake Instagram filters and whatnot, but a lot of the biggest influencers on social media are, I don't want to just call everyone out, but there's a lot of fraud, there's a lot of fakeness, meaning they don't actually get real people to like and comment. They don't get a lot of people that are actually engaging. They're paying robots, or they're paying firms, engagement groups to engage with their content. So your favorite person that you're following and you trust and you feel is legit, it could all just be smoke and mirrors. And, I guess we're getting a little bit off topic. You're right, because I'm just kind of disillusioned with the way that people are psychologically tricking people into liking them and trusting them. But I just kind of pull this all together. I do think that this can be the right time to buy an NFT, but what I'm really looking at is the utility. What is the tangible utility that I get from this? Community on its own, the influencer on their own, it's not enough for me to go in on a project.
I think Mark just got a little fired up about these influencers there. It's funny because
It pisses me off, for lack of a better term.
We are very much involved, through our podcasting and, what we do. Aside from this, we're very much, we've got our finger on the pulse of a lot of this BS that's going on out there. And, if I'm being transparent, I've been involved in some BS myself, because you get caught up. Just here's a couple of interesting things. And then I want to share my focus and what I'm going to do. I'm not going to tell anybody to do anything, but I will share what I'm going to do. And therein lies my answer about whether or not it's a good time. You've probably heard this, but I just want to unpack something that Gary V. We always refer to him just because he's really, really done his work and he's got his finger on this, and he's definitely got some innovative ideas. But he's predicting, and he does this over and over and over again. And it's funny because he's excited about this, and you should be too if this actually happens. But he's predicting that the bubble is going to burst. This hype, this big thing, it's going to burst. And the day after it bursts, and what I mean by burst is, this whole hype and all these things that people think are valuable right now, he's predicting, and I'm on that team, that it's going to burst and everything's just going to plummet. But what's going to happen is the day after, because that's, most people are going to say, it was a waste of money. I knew it was going to fail. No, that's the day that the future most successful people in NFTs will be active. It's the day after the bubble burst. And that's what happened to companies like Amazon when they got in the internet. In like the year 2000, all of those companies took a major hit, and all of the wealthiest people in the world right now jumped on them there because they believed in the internet. He actually predicts that, the greatest time to buy the NFTs will be after the disaster, So if you buy NFTs now, or cryptocurrency, you might see a big dip, but you'll still own them. So I'm not saying sell what you have, but he actually thinks that, and I don't know why he says this, but he says in 2036, that's going to be, NFTs have the most tremendous value. And the NFTs, I think, and this is, so I'll get into my preference, the NFTs that I think are going to last through this burst, and a bubble burst is not a bad thing. It's just normal. It's just the way things, it's when, like we said, when supply exceeds demand, that's what happens. And it's happening.
It can be a bad thing if you're stuck holding the buck, right?
Yeah. So case in point, I have not taken, the money under my mattress and put it on a picture right now. But what I am doing is I'm saying to myself, this is my strategy. I'm saying, well, before all this NFT stuff happened, what are the things that matter most to me, and what do I want to accomplish? And what are the things that I enjoy? I love music, I love art, I love personal growth. So as I'm looking at NFTs that I'm going to buy, I'm buying things that I like regardless of what everybody else thinks. Now, the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm noticing that these things that I like have been likable and valuable for a long time right now. So that's interesting. I'm not spending too much time trying to hedge what's going to be popular in the future. I'm actually looking at things that I really like. So one of the first NFTs that I'm going to purchase is from an artist that I really think is going to be a very, very famous artist. NFTs are not. So that's one concept of it. But when I'm buying NFTs that are associated with utilities, I'm buying them based on the utilities that I would have wanted anyway. Like if I'm a Gary V fan and I want to go to VCon, of course I'm going to buy something that gets me into VCon because I want to go to VCon. So that's something that's the strategy that I have right now. But I'm excited for the day after the plummet. That's when I'm going to,
well, it makes sense.
Go under the mattress.
And there's a balance between things that I like and it provides things that I like versus popular demand. Because if nobody else cares, then your value, the value of your item is not going to go up. My stance right now has been trying to invest in the actual cryptocurrency and the blockchains behind the product. So for example, when Ethereum took like a 50% hit recently, and I was like, buy the dip. And this is not financial advice. We're not financial advice. You should do your own research. But when I see a big dip in a cryptocurrency that's on a blockchain that I want to be invested in, That's when I'm buying. That's what I'm buying, right? So I can be prepared for when that bubble bursts. Boom. These are the NFTs left standing. These are the creators left standing. I want to go in on them. So that's been kind of my mentality towards if this is the right time to buy or not.
Yeah, and also look at the things that are in high demand before NFTs, because the creation of NFTs in crypto has created new things that are in demand. You never, ever
Right.
thought that you'd go buy a picture of a monkey and it would be worth money. But, and this is a little bit of a prediction. If you are playing a fairly big game on, say, as a podcaster, what is a podcaster trying to, acquire? More listeners and downloads. So if you see NFTs associated with that, that might be interesting to you one day. If you're on Instagram and you're, for whatever reason, trying to build a following, maybe you're launching a book or something, which is something that I'm interested in. Well, don't be surprised if, that blue check that everybody, is interested in will be acquired as an NFT. And here's another interesting thing, because there's qualifications to get something like a blue check. You can't just, if you just buy one, then you could have one follower and have a blue check, which would diminish the value of the NFT. So here's another interesting concept that's coming to mind is I see the NFTs of the future, the ones that will have the highest value, will be purchased with cryptocurrency, but you'll also have to qualify for them with some sort of dedication or work or consistency or something like that. Think about that. If you buy an NFT for 3 ETH, but the only reason you even qualified to buy it is because you accomplished an actual real life goal or you did something good for humanity, that's going to take the value of that NFT and skyrocket it because it's going to have actual value. That's what I see in the future, is that NFTs and their value and their rarity and all that stuff is going to be associated with doing good for humanity or making a difference.
Now you're getting into the
world.
Speculation phase here, but
That's
I
my
think
job.
that I know my job is to kind of keep you wrangled down, right? That's our goal here. But regardless, if you're on the right project long term, I think it's to the moon. It's just really, really, really difficult right now to determine what is going to be here in the next 5-10 years. That is the challenge. But if you can figure that out, that is the goal. Listen, hit subscribe, shoot us a review. Now is the time, right now. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We'll catch you here on the next episode of NFTs Made Simple.